to my channel. I'm Liam. I feel like I'm going to change things up with how I do my previews. I feel like I try and compress a lot into one video for that, but now I'm going to split them up into a video where I talk just trade talk, for the whole spectrum of everyone's teams, and then I'll do a preview of my team on Thursday and talk about captain options, late minute trade advice and loopholes and many more things. So trades this week, I feel like it's a fairly big week of trades. Rookies, there's a couple of rookies that are on the bubble which look to be must-haves, and there's a few rookies now that are starting to reach max price and want to be offloaded, hopefully up to premium, who's performing, so we can start to increase our scores, our overall ranks. I feel like Martin Frederick this week is one of the biggest must-haves to bring in if he does get picked for Port, which I feel like he should. Averaging 81, priced at 123, he's just someone you can be confident to play on your field, to give you that 75 and make you cash from someone that you're wanting to downgrade, possibly a Chapman in defence, or even if you've got Laird as a defensive mid, get rid of a Goulden or a Nick Cox with some DPP. You can bring him in, make a fair bit of coin, and then look to upgrade one of those other rookies to a premium of your choice. Because I feel like upgrading this week would be important, because there's a fair few players who played that game last week which look possible as handy options for next week. Collier Dawkins had a very nice role and looked good for Richmond. I always probably wouldn't want to target him as such unless he performs outstandingly next week. You kicked a few goals to get to that 67. Harry Edwards junked up late to get to a 61, but his disposal efficiency was pretty good and took 8 marks, which is something that's impressive, and so they looked to him. Poulter looked alright for Collingwood, a solid 52, and they're probably just going to play the young bloods now with how poor they're going in the season. Ryan Burns had a nice solid role at St Kilda off the half-forward flank. Probably prefer Collier Dawkins, but wait and see how they fare next week. Even Nick Bryan, I don't think he's going to play many consecutive games this year for Essendon. They're going to try and ease him into it, but a solid ruck option if we get more ruck catastrophes going on. And Madden, he's got a handy defensive forward, but didn't look overly like a high SuperCoach scoring player. But who knows, he pumps out an 85 next week and he becomes certainly an option to target. Primos that we'll be looking to target off the back of this week. If you don't have Grundy, I'll certainly look to him. He does play Goldstein, who did nullify Gordon's performance last week, so who knows with that, how that would go. Zeeble, again, he's got Collingwood this week. He could score up to 150. It's going to be incredible to see what North can perform against Collingwood. He has got up 325k, so it's hard to justify bringing him in, but he will be a number one pick. He's already 62% owned, so most people do have him. Mundy's been a surprise packet with averaging 135. Nice pod, but I wouldn't touch him. I feel like his old body might get a rest throughout the season, and those do end up nullifying. Even if he averages 120, resting brings his average down to about 115. Having to play a rookie on the field. Walsh looks an absolute gun at Carlton, does not look like slowing down. Price at 600, it looks stacked for him, but again, he is certainly one that I would like to have in my team. It's just hard to fit all these midfielders in. it's someone that if you feel is a long-term option, will 100%, but you just do fear that later on the season, does he start to get attention? Do they start seeing that Cripps isn't 100% and they'd go target Walsh? We'll have to wait and see with that, but at this very point, he does not look like someone that you want to have out your side for very long. McRae again, maybe just hold a little bit. He might drop a little bit of price with that 107, but again, an option that you should be taking. McCluggage without Neil has stepped up his game. He, along with Walsh, Youngblood, again, could eventually be tagged later on in the season if he starts to dominate games, which he has been lately. So just be wary of that. But another option which I would certainly recommend. Don't worry about going this way. You just got nullified by a good Goldstein. He'll bounce back. Against a tough Sydney comparing, Hickey has been playing very well this season, but surely Gawn can't have two bad weeks in a row. Duncan, very solid. Got hampered by scaling last week, but Geelong's got a nice draw. Along with Guthrie, I do like those, and they have a handy buy option where many of the popular midfielders do not. So I think it's the first buy, the round 12 buy. Or you could look to target him off that if you'd like. Salem is someone I brought in this week, and he's just got a very nice role at Melbourne. And it'd be hard to push him to trade him in at 540, but he does look very good and has a very high ceiling. And when Melbourne picked up their game, he was certainly one that came along with them. You do worry that Melbourne they don't look at the moment, but might fall off later in the season. But Salem is certainly an option which I would recommend to bring in, along with Stewart as well. Both of them I see him being top 8 defenders at the end of the season. All these, Mumford's the biggest surprise of them all. Don't trade him in anyone, but because he probably won't play more than 2 or 3 consecutive games, but he's been a very big surprise back in this season. You do actually want him to get injured to be able to Flynn to get back into form, but back into the team. But oh well, it's good to see him playing some good footy. Lyons is another pod, and Miller, both pod picks, which have been performing very well lately. If you are a fair way back and look to target some point of differences, those two definitely speak out. Miller's in probably his best season he's had, and Lyons with Neil out, there's so many more SuperCoach points to go around, so certainly those two look to be winners, along with I would also with Merritt, just he is more of a popular option, but there's no stress in if you want to bring him in. He's still averaging 170 in the last 3. He's been very consistent, just seems to struggle to get over that 115 mark with Essendon, not being able to win overly many games. And Oliver, he got tagged that week as well. His 3-round average is a bit down, but 116. When Melbourne came back, his score inflated incredibly, so definitely look at bringing him in. Going on to the forwards, Shai Bolton is one that I am looking at targeting this week. He's scoring 110 his last 3. He's got a 5-round average of 94, but that's with his 35 that he formed against Sydney. It does worry you that he does have a very low ceiling and he can go out of games, but lately he's performed very well. He's only 17k above his last price, and there's no overly forward saying pick me. And even he scored well even with Dusty in the side, so is certainly another option for a forward if you're trading out a Cox or a James Rowe. Zorko is another one with Neil out. I'll be looking to target in that forward area. Taranto is actually an underpriced midfielder that you could target with Whitfield back. I feel like it just strengthens the GWS side, and I don't think it impacts his scoring negatively. I feel like it impacts it positively with GWS being a better team and having more points, having more of the ball, and therefore more points spread around their team. So I think the induction of Whitfield will certainly benefit Taranto for future weeks, and someone that I would look to target as well. All these, possibly I prefer all the others. Cunnington is an interesting one. I just don't see him being consecutively good in games. He will score 145s, but I see him scoring sometimes 50s, 60s when North get absolutely blown out of the water. My last pick, probably won't be on here at the moment, would be Aaron Hall. He's scored a 6, a 20 odd, being the sub and being injured. But other than that, he's averaging 100 plus. He's priced at 70 odd. He's very tempting. Unlike in other formats, he does have forward defence. He's only a forward, but with the lack of forwards and his role at North, he's playing Collingwood this week. It's someone that would be tempting as a very unique pick to target this week. So those are the people I'll be looking to trade in this week. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll have some last minute advice in my preview, and I'll talk about what trades I'll be thinking of doing then. So good luck with your fantasy SuperCoach sides this week, and I'll catch you Thursday.